Good day to you, my dear students. Once again, I'm Sean Xavier Alcalita, and welcome to our new subject entitled The Gender and Society. And our first topic for today is talking about the difference between sex and gender. So let's have a closer look. So lesson objectives. So when you finish reading this chapter, you should be able to differentiate sex, gender, and sexuality, discuss the implication of these differences, and contemplate about your own sexuality and on the importance of appreciating sexual diversity. So for definition of terms, when we're talking about sex, it's a biological aspect of sex. It's all about the maleness and the femaleness. Gender is the social interpretation of sex, like being masculine or feminine. Sexuality is the totality of our own experience of our sex and gender. Sex chromosomes are the chromosomal markers that distinguish females, which is an XX chromosomes, from male, which is belong to the XY chromosome species. Intersex individuals with composite genitals possessing some characteristics of both female and male genitals. Introduction. So what does it mean to be a male or a female? To be feminine or masculine, or to be a man or a woman? The human mind and body are so complex such that to answer this question, we have to trace our journey from the moment we were born and go back to the journey where humans have across the lifespan. First thing you need to understand is the complexities of defining and differentiating sex, gender, and sexuality. So having a clear grasp of these concepts is crucial since we will be using these terms over and over again in succeeding discussions. Likewise, there are nuances in the meanings of these terms which have an implication at which the context we can appropriately use them. Moreover, as we start our discussion of gender and sexuality as social realities, we also want to understand how a person's gender is expressed from birth to adulthood. Our ultimate goal is to foster understanding of the diversity of how humans experience and express their sexuality. Okay, so let's go first with the term sex. Sex is the biological dimension of your gender and sexuality. It is also referred to as the biological sex or physical sex. The term generally pertains to your identity depending on your sexual anatomy and physiology. So when I say physiology, I'm talking here the parts of your body, human anatomy, for example, sexual anatomy, no? The parts of your body that are relevant to reproduction and the function of these parts. Sex is typically determined by examining your genitals. These are external organs that are associated with reproduction, which is the process or the ability to create and generate an offspring. Among humans, sex is often assigned at birth. If at birth a child is observed to have a penis and testicles, then the child is categorized as a male. If on the other hand, a child is observed to have a vagina, then the child is categorized as a female. However, there are cases when the baby's genitals appear to be a conglomerate of male and female organs, such that it may be difficult to classify a baby's sex without further examination. In the past, this condition is referred to as hermaphroditism. So, from the word Hermes, which means is a Greek god, and Aphrodite is a female Greek goddess. In modern times, the term intersexuality is used to refer to this phenomenon. Hermaphroditism or intersexuality is a naturally occurring variations in humans and animals. So out of 1,500 births, there are only one case in every 1,500 births. And according to American Psychological Association, no? So in biology, there are many cases of that, no? Particularly if there is the accident of the accident of having the extra chromosome or sex chromosome. For example, XY is male, and if there is an extra chromosome like XYX or XXX, so actually these are the accidental chromosomal accidents that may occur, and intersexuality in that case might also be considered as a best explanation for that, no, because of the accidents of having an extra sex chromosome. Okay, since it may be difficult to distinguish biological sex by merely examining the genitals, there are other biological markers used. That's why it's a chromosome, no? For instance, your chromosomes, protein structures which contain your genetic materials that are also used to determine sex. There are specific chromosomes referred to as sex chromosomes, which marks a person's biological sex. An individual with a set of XY sex chromosomes is said to be a male, and XX sex chromosomes is female. The level of some chromosomes, chemicals in our body that are responsible for sustaining bodily processes, are used as markers. For example, human males tend to have higher levels of testosterone, which is associated to sex drive and aggression. Sometimes testosterone could be associated with having a muscles, having a strong built muscles. And also having a deep voice. That is a sign of somebody with a high level of testosterone. On the other hand, human females tend to have higher levels of estrogen and progesterone, which are associated to lactation, menstruation, and other female reproductive functions. There are also other hormones that is being produced by females, such as the beta HCG, which is responsible for the rapid development of the child inside the womb, and that is that is the real cause, or that is the main cause of those pregnant women who are having their morning sickness, the beta HCG. Next one is the gender. However, humans are meaning-making organisms. Our ability for higher order thinking and our tendency to create social norms allow us to attach social and cultural meanings to things, including our sex. For example, males are typically expected to be masculine and females are expected to be feminine. Once parents are aware of their child's sex, male or female, during birth, or through prenatal procedures such as ultrasound, they automatically attach social and cultural meanings to their child's sex, and in doing so, they already set an expectation in terms of how their child should behave and how they should treat their child. This social dimension is once sexuality is referred to as gender. There are many ways through which gender is manifested. As soon as new baby arrives in the family, adults surrounding the baby manifests their social interpretation of the baby's sex by the colors assigned to the baby. For example, it is common for families to buy blue apparels and toys when the baby is a male, and the color blue is associated with the boyhood. Conversely, female babies are often assigned to the color pink, such that families would buy clothes and toys that are color pink because the color is associated with girlhood. Remarkably, the moment a baby is born, the name, toys, and apparels are picked by parents and relatives based on their interpretation of the baby's sex. Throughout childhood and adolescence, this assignment becomes more complex as the expectations go beyond the kinds of clothes worn, but also in terms of how the person must or must not behave. There are a set of behaviors that all female individuals must follow, and so with the male individuals. And all are expected to stick to these behaviors that are assigned with their biological sex. This phenomenon of determining the normality of the behavior based on whether it conforms or not to the expectations relative to one's biological sex is referred to as heteronormativity. In the Filipino culture, girls are expected to have a certain characteristics of being gentle, caring, and loving, while boys are encouraged to be strong, rough, and assertive. These expectations also extend on how men and women are expected to behave, no? Just like the college nurses they take and the jobs they apply to, no? However, there are people who do not follow culturally accepted standards of masculinity and femininity, like girls not wanting to wear dresses and boys not wanting to play rough sports. This is a natural variation of the human gender expression. There are some women who are already involved, for example, some women are already involved in the MMA sports. Some other women are involved in boxing, while there are also some men who are also involved in cooking and doing the household chores, no, and even household help, no. So this is a natural variation of the human gender expression. Social and cultural practices change through time. Just 60 years ago, women could not wear pants without social disapproval. Now, wearing pants is already an accepted fashion trend among people of different genders. How we express our gender is largely based on our social and cultural setting. Most are comfortable with their sex and gender, men who are masculine and women who are also feminine. Each culture also has a set of different standards on how to be a man and a woman. and how they should present themselves according to their sex and gender. So, talking about gender identity, one important aspect of our gender is our sense of who we are. Do we see and experience ourselves as a man, a woman, or neither? This refers to our gender identity. Typically, males are comfortable identifying as a man, and females are comfortable identifying as a woman. However, there are cases wherein a person's biological sex does not align with one's gender identity. Now, people with this experience are referred to as transgenders. A male who isn't comfortable being a man is a transgender woman. The best example is our first congressman, no? Um, become a transgender woman in the name of Congressman Geraldine Roman, or a female who is not comfortable as identifying as a woman considered to be a transgender man. The best example is Charis Pempenko. Okay, so transgender people may undergo gender reassignment surgery and to align their physical characteristics to their gender identity. However, due to many factors such as belief systems, culture, and economics, some do not opt for surgery. And in order to have this kind of surgeries, doctors would also try to give you some counseling and some psychological exams. And if you're fit to do it, then if you're past the exam, so you can go for gender reassignment surgery. But mostly some others, hindi do not opt for surgery. Sexual orientation. So another aspect of our gender pertains to our emotional and sexual attraction to a person. This aspect refers to a sexual orientation. According to the Psychological Association of the Philippines, typically at the ages 6 or 8, we experience or develop attraction to other people. By adolescence, we already know who we are attracted to and would experiment through dating and relationships. So that is very typical in most cases in junior high as well as senior high. So everyone's sexuality is different and deeply personal. Our capacity for emotional and sexual attraction is diverse and complex. But there are few common terms or labels for us to use. People who are attracted to opposite sex are called heterosexuals or straight. People who are attracted to people of same sex are called homosexuals, gay or lesbian. Bisexual or bi people are attracted to both sexes, male or female. So LGBT refers to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. So appreciating diversity. According to the American Psychological Association, or APA, nature and nurture play a complex role in shaping our sexual orientation. Homosexuality and heterosexuality are part of the human sexuality and is a large part of the human experience. Identifying as a heterosexual, lesbian, bi, gay, or transgender is a deeply personal process. So it may be more difficult for others to come out or for them to become comfortable enough with their sexuality that they feel safe to share it with the other people. For others, it comes early in adolescence, while for some it may take time to understand and discover themselves. So the best example is Rostom Padilla, the brother of the Senator Robin Padilla, no? Okay, so according to Psychological Association of the Philippines, we can truly tell if the person is gay, lesbian, or bisexual if the person shares with us his or her experiences and feelings of attraction towards them. That is why it is important for everyone to feel safe as they share their sexuality, since it is a personal and sensitive topic. We can do that in an environment wherein we do not feel judged and discriminated upon. People who experience prejudice and discrimination suffer negative psychological effects, so we must work towards an inclusive environment where everyone feels safe. Okay, for the summary, here's the Venn diagram about the sex, gender, and sexuality. For sex, it is a physical manifestations of the body that is primarily defined by the sex organ. So a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. So it cannot be changed. Example by women who can give birth. No? Gender refers to those customs learned culturally by people of each sex and is not something with which they are born. For example, women are expected to learn how to cook and raise children, while men are expected to work. Sexuality includes life experiences that have shaped these feelings and values, includes what we think is right and wrong, good or bad, encompasses personal and social meanings, as well as sexual behavior and biology. It includes ways our bodies develop and respond sexually, includes sexual acts like kissing, touching, intercourse, includes feelings about these activities and responses. Between sex and gender, sex and gender do not always align, which is where one's biological sex does not align with their gender identity. And with the gender and sexuality, gender and sexuality are not just personal identities, they are considered as social identities. Between sex and sexuality, focus their attention on sexual attitudes and practices, not on physiology or anatomy. So, the bottom line, the diversity within sex, gender, and sexuality are focus that brings LGBTQ communities together. So that's all for this topic. Once again, I'm Sean Xavier Alcalita saying thank you very much.